Something that often comes up when I bring up my interest in retro computers is people will talk about how they used to use their old computer along with a dot matrix printer to print out banners. And it seems like that was somewhat of a common thing back in the day, and it's not really something you see anymore. It's not really something I've ever seen, outside of retro computing. And me being a lowly Gen Zer, I have never experienced the joy of printing a banner on a dot matrix printer. So today we're going to change that, and I figure since it's almost Christmas that I would print off a Christmas banner for the occasion. And I thought I may as well make a little video about it. So the star of today's show, pun partially intended, is going to be this Star NX-1000 dot matrix printer from the late 80s. And it is going to be connected to a Commodore 64 through this X-Tech SuperGrafx Junior, which adapts the Commodore serial interface to the more common Centronics parallel interface that this printer utilizes. Something which is essential for making dot matrix banners is fan-fold tractor feed paper. This stuff is getting increasingly hard to find. Although I have numerous retro printers, I didn't have any proper tractor feed paper until recently, when this box of new old stock tractor feed paper was very generously gifted to me by a buddy of mine in a local retro computer group. I'm super happy to finally have some of this, because now I can print banners to my heart's content. This box was in pretty rough shape, but thankfully the paper inside is perfectly fine. Now let's get the paper set up in the printer. We'll remove this cover. We'll also have to snap off this little cover on the back. That will reveal these two little spiky wheels, and this is what engages with the holes on the edges of the paper to feed it through the printer. There's no paper tray inside the printer itself, so we just set the box of paper on the floor behind the printer, and then just run the paper up and into the back of the printer like so. It's important that the paper is below the printer because there needs to be a little bit of tension on the paper to get it to work properly. Loading the paper was a bit finicky, but this is my first time doing this. I've never done this before. So yeah, I eventually figured it out. Before printing the banner, I decided to run a little test program to make sure the paper was in the right position horizontally and that the print head wasn't printing on the roller. It appears that my paper is a little bit too far to the right, but we can adjust that. We can move those little spiky roller things back and forth for various different paper sizes. So looks like I'll have to move it to the left a little. So I've made the adjustment, and I'm running the test again, and it looks pretty good. This one run for a bit longer because I wanted to see if it would jam or not, and it doesn't appear to be jamming at all, so looks like I set it up correctly. As for the software I'll be using the original Print Shop by Broderbund software from around 1984 or thereabouts. This is the Commodore 64 version. I've also got this somewhat festive green monochrome monitor. And if I had $1 for every time I went to load something from disk and then realized it didn't have the disk drive turned on, I would be able to pay eBay prices for retro tech. Yeah, disk drives work a lot better when you power them on. Let's try this again. There we go, much better. My camera really doesn't seem to like this monitor for whatever reason. There are quite a number of things that this program is capable of doing, all of which are related to printing things off. Today we're just going to select banner. And it'll ask us to select a font. I don't know which one to go with. I think I'll go with that one. We'll do solid. And for our message, we're just going to do Merry Christmas, because it is almost Christmas after all. And for our graphic, I don't know, should we do bells or should we do Christmas tree? Or we could even do wreath. I think I'll go with Christmas tree. And we'll do it both before and after the message. And we are now ready to print our banner. And there you go, we are now printing a matrix of dots. I feel like retro printers are seriously underappreciated. There's something both charming and fascinating about old school printers. With a modern printer, It's just like a white or gray box that, makes a bunch of noises and then just spits out a document. Whereas with something like an old dot matrix, you can actually sort of watch the ink get pressed into the page right before your very eyes. And pretty much all the mechanical parts of the printer are right out in the open for you to see. And I don't know, I just find them really fun to watch. I'll put a link in the description to an unedited, unlisted video of this printer printing off the banner in its entirety, one that isn't sped up. Something I wonder is, if tractor feed paper was still commonplace nowadays, would people still be printing banners like this? Why this is something people don't really do anymore is because, printers don't really use tractor feed paper anymore. And you kind of need, continuous tractor feed paper in order to make banners like this. You can sort of do it with like friction feed paper and sort of like print on a bunch of sheets and then tape them together, but it doesn't work very well. And I plan on making some more, printer related content on this channel. At some point, I'll probably do an entire video on dot matrix printers because I think they're super cool. And this Star NX-1000 is actually technically a color dot matrix printer, but I don't have any color ribbons for it at the moment. I've just got the one black and white one that's in there now. And there we go. Something I am curious about is how hot is the print head? It's not too bad. It's got a caution hot sticker, and I can definitely see this getting pretty hot with all the friction of running across the paper. But it's a little warm, but it's not like burn yourself hot. I was actually expecting it to be a bit hotter, but anyway, that was really cool. Let's tear it off. Took, let me see the camera here. It took about 12 minutes to print. That actually isn't too bad. This printer is fairly fast. This is a lot longer than I was expecting. I was expecting maybe like 3 or 4 pages, but this is probably like 7 or 8 pages. Yeah, I'm gonna have to find a bigger space to put this. Living room floor to the rescue. It ended up being 8 pages. Well, I found a spot for it. I think it looks pretty good, but we'll see what the other people who live here think. I don't think it'll be here for very long, though. Which is really unfortunate, since dot matrix banners are something that's really lacking from contemporary festive decor. But anyway, hopefully we can change that. And yeah, that's just about it for today's little video. It's just something I figured I'd share, and I hope you found it interesting. So yeah, thanks for watching, and have a great day.